hour, OverDrive, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. We got Darren Dreger coming up here in a moment. We'll ask him about this Ryan Reynolds development. He and the Remington Group, which was in on buying the Ottawa Senators, they're out. Ryan Reynolds, the dream of Ryan Reynolds owning an NHL team or owning the Ottawa Senators is over. Maybe he looks elsewhere. Maybe they go somewhere else. Maybe there's expansion at some point.
With those heavy hitters, they don't care about Ryan Reynolds.
And nor should they. Like, if you're the Melnick daughters, I don't care about – I'm out. I'm looking for money. Pay me whoever's willing to pay me.
It's not like he gets the team because he's a good-looking celebrity.
He would have been like a 5% owner. If it's on a $1 billion deal, I guarantee you, and again, this is just my speculation, they probably said, we'll give you 5% of the deal if you attach to us. And 5% of the deal for him on $1 billion is $50 million instead of him having to pony up his own money.
Right.
So, okay, I'll put my brand on you. Or
I think it's a missed opportunity for Ottawa and for the NHL, but there's nothing you can do. Like, you can't allow for a bully offer, and you got to take it's the previous owners are looking, or the current owners are looking for the most money. And if it's not Reynolds, so be it. But it would have been great for the league and for that market if Reynolds was involved in some capacity.
One of the biggest Hollywood producers of all time, Jerry Bruckheimer, is one of the owners of Seattle. Like it,
it's not the same as Reynolds, though. Like
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I know, but he's behind the scenes. He's not in front of the camera.
Well, you think
who can pick out Jerry Bruckheimer in a? If he walked into my room right now, I'd say, "Hey, what are you from the Jiffy app? Get the hell out of here!" I wouldn't know who he was.
I could honestly say every time I played the LA Kings, the guy was there, and I've been in a few rooms with the dude, and I would know who he is.
Oh, great! Well, you played in the NHL, and you were in rooms with him.
That's what I'm saying. You just said who the hell would know who Jerry Bruckheimer is, and I had to speak to Jerry before.
Oh, really? Gary Bruckheimer's your boy now? You and Gary Bruckheimer.
He used to have a celebrity, like...
a celebrity hockey game in Vegas. And believe me, there's all of us have gone, and yes, I've done dinner with the guy several times.
Shout out to
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Jerry Bruckheimer, yes. But
Shout out. Ryan Reynolds is my guy. That's it. Right? Just like Connor Bedard is my guy. And you guys love Patrick Kane. I love Bedard. I love Reynolds. You love Bruckheimer. That's fine.
Well, I just think, for me, I wasn't overwhelmed with it. Like, I think it would be a great story to have it. But, it's a business. It's a land play. Like, you're trying to grow that business. You need a new arena. Like, it's not about... T-shirts and what's his the brand there where it looks like Spider-Man. I'm drawing a blank on it.
Deadpool.
Deadpool, which I love his movies and that, but it's the end of the day, like I don't think, like I say, I don't think he was putting $500 million of his own money into it. No. He was a guy who could be the face of it, and it's good to have celebrities around. Don't get me wrong, but. He attached himself to one group, and it sounds like there's several groups that are building and are bidding.
Like Snoop is still involved. I don't know what what is going to happen if Snoop's group ends up owning the Ottawa Senators. Is Snoop coming up every couple of weeks? Is he in the stands? I don't know. The same thing apparently the Weekend is looking at, I believe, getting attached with an ownership group or a bid. And, I don't know. I mean, none of them are from Ottawa.
Isn't Snoop tied to a business up there? That's why there's some sort of business that he's tied to in Ottawa.
I think you're right.
But either way, Snoop isn't, he's a hockey fan, but do you think Gary Bettman is like, God, I need, Snoop involved in this? Let's get him.
And who knows how much he's really going to be involved. And to your point, like Reynolds, if his team won, he wasn't making player personnel decisions or anything like that. No. That wasn't going to happen. Darren Dreger coming up here in a moment. The Leafs are back in action tomorrow night. We've been talking a lot about it today. You got to give them credit for the way that they performed last night. Like you really do. It's still a little bit bittersweet because they're down 3-1. But you get a win tomorrow night, it really changes the whole vibe around this series. We've had multiple people say that today. Florida's still in the driver's seat. They're coming up. They're probably still feeling confident. They should feel confident. But they haven't dealt with a loss in a long time. They've won 6 games in a row. They haven't lost in like 2 weeks. So what does that do for their psyche? Can the Leafs finally win on home ice? They're 1-4 at home these playoffs. I think I'm going to be in the building. And when I've been in the building, they're 0-3.
Oh, so, dude, you can't go.
I have to go.
Sports Center. He's the face of Sports Center after games. Every time I turn on the TV, there he is. Games. I'm like, there he is again.
Watch
like
it.
This guy, his hairy chest is hanging out.
I'm begging
like,
you.
He just literally, like every time I turn around, I'm like, there he is at his desk again.
Yeah.
And one button less, and it's like he's getting more and more comfortable on the mic, and it's nicknames for hosts, and it's just like
that is true.
Literally,
that is true. Hedge, Dutchie,
dude,
whoever.
I can't believe that you're even contemplating going down there. You're 0-3.
Yeah, but
how about an email saying I'll watch it from home and I'll be set up shop?
Do you
there.
think I'm the reason the Leafs are down 3-1 in this series? Yeah. Like,
I don't like the
mojo.
I don't like the mojo. I've seen it, and it's ingrained in my brain. You getting in your car with your suit on, giving me your like stupid little wave when you scoot by and you're leaving, and then it's a loss.
No, you know what it is?
Stupid little wave.
It's whatever you do.
I'll give you the middle finger tomorrow on the way down. Change the mojo.
No, but do you think
thumbs down on the drive-by?
The Leafs are sitting in the dressing room, and their PR guy, Steve Keogh, comes in and leans over to Austin Matthews and goes, Hayes is in the building.
Right.
Like
the pilot.
The pilot is in the building.
It's in the crowd.
It's a Seinfeld episode all of a sudden.
The guy's loved the team since he's 5 years old. Why would you want to even do that? It's non-negotiable. No thanks for me.
No, because he's not a lunatic. He doesn't believe in mojo. Like, do you sit at the same spot on the couch because the Leafs won when you watched it? Do you wear the same underwear they were wearing that night? Like, you're that superstitious as a fan?
I'm just saying, don't do it. You can. I know you're going, but it's stupid.
I've got an obligation. I think to be down there. I mean, I'm going to wear a tie tomorrow, right? When I'm in the home office, no tie.
But my question was to you, Hayes. Are you superstitious like that?
No,
I don't think
not.
You are. That's my point.
I think if anything, it's got to go the opposite way, right? Like at some point, it's got to happen. It's going to break. Like I'll be in the building. The Leafs are actually going to win a game at home. Go. I think it's probably going to happen tomorrow night. Here's Darren Dreger, TSN Hockey Insider. What's happening, Dregs?
Yeah, I mean, this is nonsense. All of this is nonsense. Yeah. Number one, we know that you're a strong supporter, Bryan Hayes, of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, you've made that abundantly clear publicly year after year after year. Mm-hmm. But it feels like you flipped a little bit because now you're wearing a bit of a journalism badge, reporting on what's going on.
The word is
I'm reporting.
Yeah.
Is that what you're calling it?
Well, I mean, hey, all I know is, and maybe it's the OverDrive spin here. My buddies are they're a big fan. You know, they liked you and love you as a host of OverDrive, but now they like the feedback, the analysis, and what they're getting from your coverage of the playoffs this year. So I think you need to take that seriously. And who gives a rat's you-know-what about whether or not your presence is going to have any influence? Because we know there's zero chance your presence is going to have influence.
Of course not.
You need to go down there with a tie and represent and tell the stories that need to be told. That's what you need to do. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it'd be great to actually be down there after the game, after the Leafs won a game, while I'm in the building. Like, I get the side mic going, you know, and the Leafs actually won, and you talk about that. Every time I'm down there, it's
I thought you were talking about
negative.
going into the square and getting your face painted after the game and crushing beverages.
No. Although Friday night, beautiful weather, Jays are in town, too. It's going to be rocking downtown tomorrow, man. It could be depressing, but it also could be very positive.
It could be.
It could be very positive. So what's the holdup here with the Petrangelo situation? Like Nurse was just kind of black and white, right? It was, hey, this happened, instigator, this is in the books, or you're suspended for a game. But what's the holdup here with Petro, and where do you see this playing out, or how do you see it playing out?
Well, look, I mean, let's start with the process, and I believe that the Petrangelo hearing was at 2:30 Pacific, which is 5:30 Eastern. So probably wrapping up, maybe didn't last this long. They're likely in the process of making a decision. But that was the information that I received earlier from someone close So that could be part of it. It could simply be time of day. And as many of us have speculated on, it kind of makes sense. And now that they've announced that, the Darnell Nurse automatic suspension for the instigator with less than 5 minutes to go has been upheld, what's Petro going to get? A game, maybe 2? If Draisaitl is injured on the play, then we're talking about something else. It could be 2. It literally could be 2. I mean, that's a nasty slash, but I concede to you guys as hockey players, and Brian, I'm including you in that.
Thank you.
Jags, what about 0? Any chance for 0?
I don't think so. That's not the feedback I was getting over the course of the day from the process people. Now that, full disclosure, that's not George Parros. Parros isn't going to tip his hand one way or another. And as we know, people feed their intelligence in and their opinion in, and then George ultimately has to make that call. How do you, I push back here a little bit. Petro was obviously sour with how he was being treated in that game and in this series. And Evander Kane is, he's doing his job with the Edmonton Oilers, going after Petro and other Golden Knights players. But Alex Pietrangelo had enough. So he's not going back at Evander Kane or someone like that. He has a spot on Leon Draisaitl, and he takes it. But, again, to get to my point of you guys as hockey players here, if Alex Pietrangelo swings from up high the way he did, and he delivers that slash with any sort of gumption and targets the wrist, we're having a different conversation. I feel, and this is just watching that replay a bunch of times, that he knew what he was doing. It maybe got a little out of hand based on where he started with the slash, but I think he purposefully wanted to hit Draisaitl in the padding to deliver a message, but not an injury. So we'll see. I think it's a one game, and a one game it's a wash. Both teams feel the pain without one of their top defensemen, and away they go.
Yeah, I agree. My whole thing is I'd love to be, and believe me, I've been on one suspension call on the wrong end of it, but when you're on these calls,
that was flat out dirty. Like that was career-ending dirty.
Misunderstanding, and believe me, some of the comments on the call were the funniest things I've ever. One of these days, I will lay out the call, but I would love to hear what he has to say. Like, what is his defense? Like, for me, I laid out what I did and apologize, all of that stuff. But in his situation on the call, does he go, listen, I'd had enough. Like, I've been hit from behind. I've done you start to lay out things of what led to the process and the thought process. And he might say, if I wanted to break his
careful with that one.
Thing is if he could say, if I wanted to break his arm, I would have broke his arm. Like, you could flat out say that.
That's the difficult thing, Jamie, is when you have to explain yourself. I got one game in the playoffs against Montreal. I absolutely steamrolled Sheldon Surrey from behind. It was either him or Gino Ojic. And Jimmy Rutherford's prepping me on what to say, and I'm like, I wanted to kill the guy. How am I going to say it was an accident? You can't explain it.
That's outstanding. Yeah. Well, I think you're bang on. And then you get into the description of what is intent to injure. Well, if Petro goes into it that way, or is into it now as we have this conversation, we'll hear an announcement from the Department of Player Safety at some point in the near future here, I would think, within the hour or more. You're trying to determine, okay, well, yeah, I was pissed. Like, everybody on the planet can see that. But I could have done damage. I chose not to do damage, and I did this. Well, okay, where's that fine line of intent to injure? So, yeah, I'm not sure how he would have been prepared or what his argument was. I just feel like the safest, the easiest thing for the NHL is to call it a wash. Okay, yeah. Darnell's out. Petro's out for a game. It's a serious series. And furthermore, maybe George on the call, says, okay, you're a veteran player for the Vegas Golden Knights. You go back to your group and you tell them, we're not putting up with any of this nonsense. And then the series supervisor will say the same thing to both head coaches and general managers. Guys, first round, we started plucking one player out of each scrum. Vegas, do you really want to deal with that Edmonton power play in a clinching game? Because we're going to be ticky-tacky now moving forward. I mean, maybe that's enough of a message to kind of get the nonsense to quiet down.
Yeah. With Darren Dreger, TSN Hockey Insider. So we were talking about this Ottawa Senators story as well, Dregs, that Ryan Reynolds and his group are out. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of groups still bidding, and it sounds like the bids, I guess, are going to open officially like May 15th, I believe, is the date that they're waiting for. And how do you think the NHL feels about this, that Ryan Reynolds, his popularity, his celebrity, being a Canadian, him being out, how disappointing might it be if you're Gary Bettman and company?
Yeah, well, what I'm guessing here is that if this ultimately is what happens, so I reported on this on Insider Trading several weeks ago, and the messaging I got was that if the Remington Group is not the successful bid, then Ryan Reynolds was out, and he just wasn't going to put his integrity on the line and jump on board with another bidder. And that was a really, really good source there. So now we're going to test that and see what happens. Bruce Garriock is our authority on this story. I mean, for the Ottawa Sun, he's on it every second of the way here. My understanding of where we're at today is that I think the Remington Group wasn't afraid of the price tag, of $1 billion North Canadian for the Ottawa Senators. But I think that they wanted some level of commitment or exclusivity to the arena build and the land and getting that process going. And I don't think they were given that from the bank. And again, I encourage anyone to follow Bruce Garriock and read his piece, because that's what I gleaned from a little bit of scouring before I came on the show. And I would think that if it's not just the Remington Group, if you're paying $1 billion or more Canadian dollars just for the Ottawa Senators, how can you not have some level of commitment of what the arena deal is going to look like, where it is, who's participating in building it financially, and all of those things? So, this might be the Remington Group stepping up, but maybe others follow.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, listen, Ottawa's in a situation where the current ownership, they're trying to make money, as they should. The NHL has to understand that. Whoever gets in there, it's ultimately it's going to be about, can you win? Can you, what kind of budget are you going to supply the team? Like, it's easy for the fans to eventually move on here and be happy with things.
But you also, don't you guys have to think, like, the NHL, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, should be vetting the group very deeply. You don't want owners in there that are a problem, that have a history with stuff, that to me, this is, you get an opportunity and you're being offered into a very exclusive club, one of 32. Like, you better make sure that everybody signs off on it and you're comfortable who comes in, correct?
Yes, and guys, you remember Jim Balsillie, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think we all have Blackberries parked somewhere in a drawer. I'll never forget, covering a Board of Governors meeting and having a loose connection to Balsillie. And, he slipped out the side door after essentially agreeing to meet and talk about his bid to purchase an NHL club. But he was so forward and just wanted to do everything on a fast track. That is not how Bettman and company operate the NHL. So as much as the celebrity of Reynolds, and let's throw Snoop Dogg into the mix here too. We can't overlook Snoop. I mean, come on. I think part of it makes Bettman and maybe some of the old stodgy owners a little bit nervous too, right? They like doing things behind the scenes, quietly, and without a whole lot of public spectacle.
Well, at some point we're going to get an answer. Who knows when that's actually going to take place? And same thing with Alex Pietrangelo and what happens on that front. And we move forward. We got 2 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Leafs back in action tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. Thank you, Dregs. We appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
Okay, buddy. Wrinkled blazer, stained dress shirt. I don't know. Clip-on tie, whatever you want, but make sure when you're wearing the hat to have the press pass, because you're an ink-stained wretch now, basically.
Yeah, no, I have a journalistic integrity. It's 100% a fact. I have a standard, and I have set the standard, and I consistently push it forward. So you can bank on that tomorrow night.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, buddy. There's Darren Dreger, a TSN Hockey Insider. Yeah, you got to be a journalist. You got to be a pro. You have to.
Yeah, but there's others down there that aren't. So you can pretty much conform to what you want to do.
Yeah,
Who cares? Do whatever you want.
I'm just giving opinions. That's what I do for a living. And that's what I bring on. That's what you're doing after the game. Everyone's just giving an opinion. Yeah. I'm not down there reporting on, hey, I just heard Joseph Wall or Elias Samsonov right around the corner, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So this is coming out. Darvin Ham, head coach of the Lakers, says Anthony Davis is not in the concussion protocol.
Oh, good.
That's great. Yeah, that's a positive. But he's never going to let that down now.
Why the wheelchair?
Well,
I don't know.
I don't listen. It's a very serious topic, but it sounded like he was woozy leaving. So that's where.
Can you imagine? And it's not really funny, but like if Hayes twisted his ankle or something, and we were in a hallway at work and we saw him wheel around the corner in a wheelchair to get back in, I wouldn't be able to handle myself.
No, it would be like we all. What it is our
like if
our
he was
humor is
zooming
sick,
it in there to get to the studio.
I know.
Yeah,
that's
but if I had an ankle issue, it might be understandable.
If you hurt your wrist and were in a wheelchair,
right?
That's the problem.
That's the problem. And,
right.
Anthony Davis. Listen, he's got a history of getting injured. It was a blowout game, fourth quarter. See you later.
But
Chris Haynes was the one that reported on it.
I'm sure there's people out there like that work in hospitals and nurses and doctors. When you're admitted to a hospital, don't you have to, when you leave the hospital, you have to leave in a wheelchair, correct?
Yes, that's for insurance purposes, I believe.
Yes.
But yes, you have to
leave
in a wheelchair.
Leave the building, and then you exit out, and then you're good to go. You get up.
I don't believe
away.
That applies to an NBA bench getting to the locker room, though.
No, it was a reported tweet. Nobody saw it. Correct?
Well, that's the thing. Chris Haynes reported it, and that's why I'm saying, like, if I'm Davis, I'm either getting to Haynes and saying, dude, what the hell are you doing? Or I'm getting to the doctor saying, you got to go out there and tell the world that it was mandatory. I sat in that
mandatory.
thing. Like I had to. I didn't have a choice. Like once protocol kicks in, because
There's
if he's
way
waving
that
over the
puts you in a
wheelchair,
man, he got slapped in the head.
I know it wasn't really it didn't look like a really bad hit. I mean, it's easy for us to say,
right?
But the fact that he's not in concussion protocol is a good thing.
Exactly,
it's a positive thing. But it allows for wait a minute, then what happened? What possibly could have happened to Anthony Davis?
And here's a guy, again, fairly or unfairly, has a reputation of
wearing
being
street clothes
a
lot.
Injured all the time.
While the game is being played.
So that's why the panel, it sounded like we're
Chuck and Shaq just could not contain themselves.
Trying to keep it together.
They could not.
Now, they never admitted that's what they were laughing at, correct? Is it I don't know, because in watching all the clips, not once.
That's what they were laughing
at. Oh, of course. But
they
what
never
I'm saying.
They were always playing coy. But like when Charles was looking at Kenny saying, what are you doing with your seat? He literally did the hand gesturing.
A wheelchair.
So
it was.
I think we kind of understand it.
I agree.
All right, Luke Willson coming up. All right. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is Luke Willson coming on today?
It's a simple question. We're going to say opening night, the Lions are out in Kansas City. Like it or hate it?
Exactly. We'll get his answer. I'm not going to push him one way or the other. He's my guy, my teammate. I love Luke Bryan. Team Luke Bryan. I love Luke Willson. But we'll just put it on a platter for him. He can answer whichever way he chooses. All right? That's simple. We'll do that next. All right, with the season on the line, TSN 1050 wants to see you show off your Leafs loyalty with a chance to win a 70-inch Samsung TV. To enter, take a video showcasing your loyalty to the Leafs. This could be a Go Leafs Go chant, your Leaf game ritual, your reaction to Game 4 last night. Don't be afraid to up video to Instagram or Twitter. Tag TSN 1050 in the post and include hashtag Leafs loyalty or favorite loyal Leaf fan will win a 70-inch Samsung Crystal 4K Smart TV.
Nice.
For full details, head to tsn1050.ca. I'm wearing my one of one hat. Actually, I guess two of two, because I got one and Luke Willson got one, the Luke Bryan hat. It's arguably the greatest gambling run of all time when Luke Willson came together.
I am very excited I have put forth the work to find my teammate for next year, and I am excited to make that announcement come September.
Is that right? You're excited?
Very, and it might be a 3-person team.
Wow.
Oh, interesting. That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, man. Who's going to make the ultimate call? Who's got the stones to make the ultimate call?
All I know, I'm just happy Al's brother is out of my life.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was tough, man. That was really a difficult end of the season. A real choke job for Team Aldog.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was a struggle. And the Super Bowl was a struggle, everything across the board. So Luke's coming up here in just a second. A Detroit Lion alumni, an admitted Lions super fan growing up in Windsor, like just across the river. And we're going to ask him, forthright, what do you make of it, right? Like, I've given my opinion before. I'm not going to give my opinion now because I don't want to sway, my teammate, guy, my partsy one way or the other. And you, the same thing, right? We just want to put it on a line for him.
Yep.
It came out today, opening night, NFL season, Kansas City, at home against the Detroit Lions. All right, here's our main man, Luke Willson. Luke, take it away, man. What do you make of that opening night? Are you cool with the Detroit Lions getting the opening night marquee against Kansas City?
No.
Cool.
His phone dropped, but it was enough for me to hear the N, and I'm pretty positive he's saying absolutely not. Can you hear us? Your phone dropped out. Answer the question again.
Okay, am I back? Am I back live now? How are we doing?
We got you. We got you.
It's ridiculous. That's what I think
Thank
it is. Like, what on earth? I mean, let's go from a Lions fan here. And I'm going to say this now, okay? So this is before the season. That division is theirs to lose this year, okay? And that's my honest opinion. But I'm dumbfounded. Them coming out and being able to play Kansas City on opening night? Are you kidding me?
Do you not know how to read?
Thank you.
I text you what to say, you dummy.
Exactly. But you sewered him.
You came over the top is what you did. You texted him and said, don't even think about saying
I did not. That's just two peas in a pod, man. Two of the greatest gambling duo of all time, seeing everything the same way. Because if he had an opposite view, that might have been a waiver wire take. That might have been worthy of a waiver
Dude,
wire.
I text the guy and I say, you got to say the Lions going out to KC's a dynamite idea. And he started laughing. LOL, yeah. And then he absolutely sewers me.
I love it. It is a ridiculous decision. It's ridiculous to put Detroit on opening.
But,
night.
Luke, you got to
Ridiculous.
admit, man, as much as you didn't enjoy your time there, it's been a gong show. They finished 8-2, man. They're kind of on the rise. Why not try to prop them up and give them some love? I know the league is about winning.
Yeah.
You always talk about, in quotations, that league. And I know it's about winning because so is the NHL. But don't you want to say, you know what, Detroit, here's some love for you. You've shown some good signs, and let's get it done this year. Let's go Lions and let's go Teddy.
Hold on. I like it. I like where your head's at. And I agree. And like I said, I think I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the you know what, but I think they're going to win the division. But now you're going to start them out with Kansas City? Like, hey, Congrats, Detroit. Here's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and they're about to throw and catch for 150 for Kelce and throw for 300, maybe 3 TDs, Patty Mahomes. Enjoy it.
It's ridiculous. It's a local band that plays bars, and now all of a sudden they get to play the Massey Hall or something, or they get to go play the Garden down in New York. It's outrageous. And I think what it is a troll job. I think it's the NFL saying we could put anything on. It doesn't matter. Kansas City could play. Find me a team from anywhere on earth. Put it on. We're going to get 50 million people watching in the States and around the world.
I agree.
That's what it is.
I think the other thing the NFL might think is, which I was a little surprised about the draft, is that the Lions, they did address some defensive issues, but not a ton. They took their first pick overall and drafted a running back, which we're not even going to get into. But it's like this defense was very, very subpar last year. Everyone can agree with that. So now what we're going to see is opening night, like I said, it should be theoretically an absolute, performance by Kansas City, just lighting up the scoreboard. And that maybe is another angle, but like you said, Hayes, I'm still confused. I'm still very confused how they got this. We played one time on opening night, and it was against Green Bay.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
Right. Like, they get the Thanksgiving game. All right, go ahead. That's your big day.
Yeah.
Like, you've had that forever for, 60 years.
You know what? This goes back to the ultimate quote. Lukey, everyone's a bitcher and complainer nowadays. It's like this guy was outraged that the Lions. Like, let's have some happiness in the world.
I think it's amateur hour.
It's just everybody has to complain about everything. This guy would wake up and have a coffee and be pissed off immediately, saying, "Man, I cannot believe the Lions are going
put him
out
on
there."
Monday night in week 1.
But
slide him into the 425 game, something like that.
Here's a quick one, though, O-Dog. I got to ask. There's a rumor circulating around that you got not one new teammate, but 2. So what band of Muppets are joining you this year?
No kidding.
All I know is whether it's one Muppet or 2, none of their names is going to be Al's brother, and you know that for a fact, Jack.
Poor Al's
that
brother.
That is a positive. Yeah. I grant you that. That is a positive.
Poor Al's brother just taken to the woodshed.
Taking shrapnel in mid-May.
Dude, you got to pay the price for behavior like that. It was just sewer job after sewer job after I can't see it happening, after I love this play, and it was nonsense, and it's out. He's out.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, imagine listening to that every week.
Yeah. Well,
Luke, hang on. Well, if we're going to take shots at the Lions, what about just tell me this. Describe it in detail. How garbage the Packers are going to be this year. Talk to me.
It's going to be very, very tough. And I know Hayes is a Packers guy, and unless Jordan Love is just miraculous, you look at that offense. I think they'll have a good run game, so that will help. And theoretically their defense should be good, but I think everyone can agree, including you, Hayes. Like last year, their defense did not play as well as you thought they would, especially like with the pieces they have on paper.
Right.
And now you sit here, and at wide receiver, you have the youngsters that are coming along, but are we going to put this stamp of approval? Like, are these guys truly elite? I don't know about that. And you've got a quarterback that has virtually no experience. I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains for the Green Bay Packers this year.
With Luke Willson, obviously, this. Your Leafs are down 3-1, but they survived last night. They're coming home tomorrow night. Have you been in a position like this at any point in your career? I mean, I know it's a different setup because it's, do or die every playoff game in the NFL, bowl season or whatever. I mean, there's no best 4 out of 7. But can you speak to maybe being down on the mat early in a big game and finding a way to, get it back together and miraculously winning that game? And can you possibly apply that to the Leafs-Panthers series?
Yeah, you know what? And this is wildly cliche, but when you're in this big of a hole, I mean, I know it's a little smaller now, but you really just need to focus on, like, each play, each period. I would assume it's similar. I remember the year we actually won the Super Bowl, this was a bit bizarre, but we were like 9-1, or maybe it was something like that, and we were playing Mike Glennon-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we were at home, and I want to say they were 0-9, and we were down 21-3 at the half. It was the first time we were really we're like, holy smokes, we're getting beat, because the game we had lost was to Andrew Luck and the Colts. Luck had a pretty big fourth quarter, and Pete came in. I was kind of expecting to get reamed out, not personally, just as a team. But Pete came in and was like, hey, listen, that didn't go how we wanted to go. He's like, and we can't just score 17 or 18 points on one play. He's like, we got 30 minutes of ball. We're going to do it one play at a time. Defense, get the ball back. Offense, we got to score points. Like, we're still going to win this bad boy. And I would say for the Leafs, like I've been following, I still think they're a better team, on paper. They win this one, all of a sudden Tampa Bay gets a little bit, maybe they're sweating a little bit. You feel me?
Yeah, that's all they need. You got to get one tomorrow night. It's 3-2. You head back down. Anything's possible. Anything is possible at that point. He is Luke Willson. So we know the opening for the NFL. Next year it's going to be Kansas City, Detroit. Obviously, whoever wins the coin flip, if you guys win it, you and your two new buffoons, you'll take Detroit because you think they're so great. If we win it, I'm sure we'll take Kansas City because we'll actually know how to operate. And there you go. I mean, this is a look into the future. We'll be there before you know it. Opening night, Detroit, Kansas City. All right, buddy. Thank you for the honesty and a great take, as I wouldn't expect anything less from my partner. Thank you for this.
Get it, guys.
There he is, Luke Willson. Partsy himself.
I think I know one of those people.
Oh, yeah?
No, nobody knows. No Noodles, no one knows, and it's going to be a massive reveal.
Really?
A massive reveal.
Trying to think of who it could be. Got to be someone. It's probably two people from TSN, I would think.
I was going to say, I think it might be one, she's the face of the NFL.
I think Karen could be involved.
Never know.
Yeah.
You know who was thinking about who it could be, Hazy? Mark Jackson was thinking about who could be the MVP.
You see this story?
Isn't that insane?
The only guy that didn't vote for Jokic.
He came out and apologized,
Jackson.
and he said, I forgot. It was a mistake. And he said, I apologize to the Nuggets, and I apologize to Jokic.
What's strange about it is Jokic, he didn't win the MVP, and he lost, but Embiid won. It wasn't like he was a vote away.
It's just the idea of not having his name on the ballot.
It is, because you know what? I did the votes this year for for all the award winners and all that, and you have to send them in legally, and they get accepted by, I think it's Ernst and Young or whatever. They're counted, but there's I go over them 5 or 10 times. When you're going, did I forget anybody? Because you start to go, and they clarify. It's okay, Matthew Tkachuk is a right winger, not a left winger. Because that's where people have gotten themselves in trouble. Remember, for years, people are like, Alex Ovechkin, right wing, and he's actually a left winger. Right? So you don't want to screw things up. So I feel for him, though. I don't know if I'd have to go back. I don't think I've ever left.
That's just a big omission. It's almost too big of an omission where you almost have to accept that that probably is the truth. But all year, the conversation revolved around Jokic. Can he three-peat? Will he do it again? Will he do something, LeBron's never done, Jordan's never done?
And he was cruising until 2 months to go in the season.
And he was the favorite, the prohibitive favorite. And the idea of keeping him off, it has to be just a blemish. I can't imagine it was truly I've evaluated. I don't think this guy's worthy of being in the top 5 or top 10.
No, it's not a Jeter situation where there was one hero. Yeah.
Right. The Hall of Fame. And that was always the way Cooperstown worked. No one gets in with a unanimous vote.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, there you go. Luke Willson. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that reveal. I want to figure out who's going to be riding shotgun with you. Possibly 2 people riding shotgun with you. Maybe we have a big reveal show. We really fly Jim Gray in. You can play the role of LeBron. Who are you going to team your talents up with? All that kind of option.
Can't wait.
It's a real possibility. All right, we'll come back with our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. A couple games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The NBA playoffs continuing as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Looking at the NBA board tonight, I'm looking at teams that need wins tonight. I'm on Boston -2.5. It's going to be tough on the road, but they got to get it tonight. I think this is going 7, and I like Phoenix tonight as well, laying 2. I like the Suns. I like the Celtics tonight. Both small spreads, both likely tight games, but I will take Boston and Phoenix tonight. Lay the points in both games in the NBA. And today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Bet your favorite NBA superstars from first basket score to top point score on FanDuel this postseason. Please play responsibly. Must be 19 plus. Physically located in Ontario. I like Boston because Harden in a big game, Embiid in a big game. I don't know if they got that history, man. I like Tatum. I like Brown. I like the way the Celtics, are wired. I think that'll be a great game tonight. Got 2 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. Dallas, Seattle back in action, and Jersey looking to survive.
Do you think Carolina gets it done? It's weird. This Jack Hughes thing is weird, eh? You seeing that?
Yeah. What are they doing? Like he's not hurt, is he? Or
it's just, I have no idea why any coach would think that factors into anything. But hide him in line rushes to wonder what line he's playing on. Everybody knows what the heck everybody's about in that league. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only thing that can scare you is if you see Mario, Jagger, and Ron Francis all come out in the same line and you have to play against them. That's the only thing that will get your attention. There's no surprises.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit weird, though. But did he not? I thought he got into a little dust-up in. Was that with Aho? So maybe
he lost his tooth. He lost his tooth. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Eh? Like, I'm thinking,
Are you thinking he may not play tonight?
Well,
like,
no, I'm thinking it's like, I think maybe he's nicked up. Like, there's no reason. Like, to your point, why? What does it matter? They're not going, okay, well, Jack Hughes isn't going to be on a line. Let's not worry about him. The minute he steps out there, they're like, we got this guy. We have to worry about him. So I don't know if he's maybe a game time, not 100%. I don't know. Like, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Like, that's not playing coy. You play coy whether you're going to go 11-7 or 12-6 or, have a guy who has, put in a tough guy as opposed to a skilled guy in your third and fourth line. Like, if a star player's on the ice, you're assuming he's playing. Like, that's it. Like,
obviously. I mean, that's a huge development if Hughes, for whatever reason, is not going to play tonight. But I think I like Carolina. I do like Carolina, but the way things have been operating in the playoffs, obviously anything's possible. The Vezina finalists have been announced. Linus Ullmark, the Bruins, Ilya Sorokin of the Islanders, and Connor Hellebuyck of the Jets.
Not one of them.
I think Ullmark's going to win that, right?
Well, Ullmark's a slam dunk. Slam dunk.
Seems like it's not even going to be close.
He had 40 wins this year. Plus, he was goals saved above expectation. Like, him and Swayman were 1 and 2. Sorokin was right up there. Saros was there. Hellebuyck, slam dunk. But it
feels like that's a slam dunk. Jim Montgomery's going to win the Coach of the Year. That's a slam dunk. And
lots of slam dunks in the regular season.
Played 7 more games than teams that missed the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why you play the games. That's why these playoffs have been bananas. Nobody cares. Like, now, once you get into the playoffs, nobody cares what guys did in the regular season. Like, that's what's been so frustrating when we talked about it last year. Matthews had 60 goals. He played 7 games last year in the playoffs. That's it. And then we watched
some even fan bases noodles. They think there's this deserved thing where it's like those guys should be in. They're too good. It's like
Nathan McKinnon's sitting at home right now.
No kidding. A lot of that whole Boston Bruins team is sitting at home after 1 round.
Yeah,
dummied by an 8 seed.
Yeah, there are like I say, there are a lot of good players and good teams sitting at home. You got to be one of them still playing. That's what you got to give yourself a chance. It's
the Leafs are still alive, right? Yeah. They're alive. That's all it was last night. They stayed alive, and they deserve a lot of credit for that, for playing well. Like, in an individual game, they played really well. They defended really well. It was a low event game, physical game. And Joseph Woll, I'm curious what he brings tomorrow night. Like, I really am curious if that story can come to life a little bit. It was the first time we saw a rookie starting a game for the Leafs since, I think, Felix Potvin 30 years ago. Like, it's usually veteran, well-known goalies. And here's Woll, and he's back in there tomorrow. Same situation, this time at home. They got to get a win at home. They're 1-4 in these playoffs at home. Be a huge part of the build-up tomorrow night. I'm sure they're going to be asked about it. I'm sure they're going to have the same cliches that you would expect. But, it's got to be something Keefe is hammering away at. Like, you got to take advantage of home ice.
Bottom line is do or die.
It doesn't matter where you play tomorrow.
Doesn't matter. You got to win.
Play anywhere in the world. You got to win that game.
That's it.
Yep. Got to win that game. Has to happen. All right, boys. We'll be in studio tomorrow. I'm going to go down to the game. I think I'm going to be down there. Just telling you right now. Maybe things change between now and tomorrow night. We'll see. I'm not going to put a poll up because everyone's going to say don't go. But it'll be good. It'll be good. All right, we got games in the NHL tonight, NBA tonight, Major League Baseball, big golf tournament cooking down in San Antonio. It's going to be a fun one tomorrow. I haven't checked the leaderboard today, actually. so much else going on. I haven't been tracking Matt Kuchar. You know who's high on the list? My boy Adam Scott was 8 under today.
Oh,
no way!
Yeah, Scotty is right there, and there is some cat by the name of Sung Yul No, who's 11 under. He shot 60. He's got a 3-shot lead already. So you never know.
You'll know more tomorrow.
You never know. We'll know more tomorrow. There's so many puns available if that guy stays in the lead. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
You're not going to the game, 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.